Welcome to the Elite Performance Team Podcast. Dominic Perillo and Dr. Jan Kaspertz produce podcasts weekly with information in health and wellness, as well as guests on our podcast. If this is your first time listening, thanks for listening. If you like our content, you can find more information on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes. Today we have Christa Zamel, owner of Reinvented CrossFit in Rochelle Park. Welcome, Christa. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me. Number one, a little bit about myself. I own Reinvented CrossFit in Rochelle Park. I also have a Pilates studio in Englewood. So fitness is a bit of my lifestyle, if I would say. But I stumbled into fitness. Originally, I was a life coach. So for me, it's more about wellness and lifestyle versus competition.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's what I've gotten into as well. I had all these big plans of doing all these races. I mean, working with Dom, I get motivated because he's always doing these races. He's training to get into the Boston Marathon, and then I'm like, do I really want to compete or just want to be healthy? So then I'm like, I changed, like literally over the last 2-3 weeks, I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm more on that fitness journey. The competitive fire to train, work out every day is there. I don't need a trophy. I don't need. I'm just doing it purely because I enjoy doing it. And now I'm at that point because I'm 46. I enjoy smelling the flowers, seeing the birds flying when I'm riding the bike instead of having to go as hard as I can on the bike all the time. So yeah, I totally agree. I like the wellness fitness journey myself.
He says this as he basically led a 110-mile bike ride of 30 people.
Fasted.
Yeah. I believe as he's telling you,
But he's not competitive.
He's
He's not competitive at all.
We always start with a quote of the day. Today's quote: "Successful people are always doing what other people are still talking about." Doc, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, it's huge because life is hard. Okay, so life is hard, and the thing is, people kind of know what they need to do. Like when we're talking about fitness and wellness, very simply, just be more active and eat cleaner. Everybody knows what they need to do, but the people who are actually successful with it are the people who actually implement it. And you can take this across the board with anything in life too. With business, with relationships, it's like you have to there's effort involved. There's nothing given for free. And when you do get it for free, you don't really enjoy it, and you're not earning it. So what we try to do, instead of just talking the talk, we are walking the talk. So you gotta take massive action steps in order to succeed.
Christa, what do you think about that quote?
I totally agree with that quote. I think a lot of people are afraid of success. So rather than take the effort to do the hard work, they essentially will take the easier route. And then they'll blame themselves. We're not successful, but why aren't you successful? You're not taking those steps to actually get to being successful. But I agree, it's 100% in every area of your life. It's
Sure.
not just with working out, it's with your personal life, your business life. But I keep hammering into people it's a lifestyle, so your mentality is always about everything that you do in life, and success is one of them. If you don't think you're going to be successful, you're not going to put in the effort to do it.
And exactly what you were saying too, you can't compartmentalize success. Like I'm going to be a successful cyclist or a successful runner or a successful CrossFitter. You need to basically have the same mentality across the board, exactly what you were saying. But the other huge part of success that nobody friggin' sees is failure.
Right.
You have to fail.
You have to fail.
So right off, I started this practice 7 years ago. It went soared through the roof. I built a machine, it was freaking monster practice, everything was going fantastic, and it's like, people would see like an iceberg, just see the little tip of this iceberg sticking out of the water,
Right.
but a tremendous amount of effort and failure, trying a lot of things, and they're failing, and then boom, you got a little blip of success, and then that's the thing you need to understand. With success comes a lot of failure that people don't see. And a lot of times people take it personally when they fail. It's not. So it's basically, all right, like, I tried this isn't working, let me just try another way. So there's more than one ways to open a door to get through something or to succeed, but you have to be able to understand that failure is all part of success.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell people that there is no failure unless you're not trying. So,
Right, that's true.
because every failure you have is a lesson, like you said, you're not gonna get to where you wanna be without failing.
Of course,
Nobody's
yeah.
successful without failing.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
What I like about this, I don't know if it's how New Year's felt this year, felt like on the day, but everybody was, well, I'm not gonna start on New Year's Day. I'm gonna just one more weekend and then I'm gonna start on
Yeah.
Monday.
To do your gratitude journal. So I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, meditate, write my gratitude journal, do a whole bunch of reading. And like you said, people don't know what to write in their gratitude journal or what to be grateful for. So the first day, I woke up anxious, I did my meditation, brought my anxiety down a little bit, but then I'm like, let me write my gratitude journal. Didn't know what to write. And we do presentations at schools and at different places, and one of the things that we always focus on is mindset and gratitude. So I always bring my gratitude journal and I tell them exactly what I wrote on that first day. So the first day I wrote, I'm thankful for waking up next to my wife in our bed in our house. And that's all I wrote. And just writing that down, understanding the small little things that we really don't consider to be grateful for, when you write them down and you realize, whoa, I woke up, a lot of people my age aren't waking up or haven't gotten to this age. I have an awesome wife in our own bed, in our house. It's a pretty good day already.
Right.
So that's a great way that we start, I start my day, and same thing with Dom. Dom does it at nighttime?
No, I do gratitude in the morning. I meditate traditionally more midday or at night.
Okay.
Or multiple times a day.
Yeah.
This morning, talk about little things. So my older son's 14, and I had no clue that he actually knew how to play chess, but he learned in school.
Okay.
And as a kid, I played chess a lot with my brother, and so we've been playing chess a lot. Well, I hate to admit this, but the last 2 times he beat me.
Oh, that's great.
And but in my gratitude journal this morning, I wrote I was thankful that he beat me. He legitimately beat me. I
Yeah.
promise you, I do not let him win at all. He beat me, and
Sure.
I just had a lapse in judgment on one move, and that was it. Once he got that piece, I was done. But so I do it in the morning when I first wake up, and it's from the day before. But I might try that at night.
Yeah.
I might try
Especially
that.
somebody suffering from like anxiety or can't go to sleep, there's too much going through their head. If you write down what you're grateful for, that should definitely down-regulate a lot of stress.
I would
Yeah, it
think.
takes your focus elsewhere. I don't personally actually journal, right? I just do it in my head. I think whatever works for you, works for you. Like you said, you meditate in the middle of the day, which is wonderful. There's different forms of meditation. Sometimes a workout can be a meditation,
Sure.
which a lot of people don't understand either. They're like, do we have to sit and go home? I'm like, no. You know, it's anything that just clears your head for, even if it's a moment, an hour, and then you're back to regulating yourself.
If I run alone, I don't need to meditate that day.
Because that is a form of meditation.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
the thoughts that come and go as I'm running, they're incredible. The things that surface is like,
Yeah.
really? You're thinking about that while you're running? But it takes away from what I'm actually doing.
And you get into that zone, you have no idea that you just jumped over a curb, a pothole. It's just all
Yeah.
it's like autopilot.
Autopilot,
Yeah.
that
There
is
you
it.
go.
It's
Yeah, it's
autopilot.
autopilot.
That's a perfect word for it. That's how I felt today, autopilot.
Yeah.
And just one foot in front of the other. Do you have any, when you have the events at your place,
Mhm.
do you also participate?
Not when we have the events at the box.
Okay.
So we run it. So I have
Right.
to be in charge of running it, and my coaches are running it, the judges. It is funny because my members keep trying to get me to compete. I'm not a competitive person by nature, which, again, I don't know why I'm in CrossFit, because I'm not competitive by nature. But so it is funny because they keep telling me, why don't you compete? Why don't you compete? I said, because I'm not really competitive. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy watching everyone else compete, but I don't enjoy the actual competition for it. I think for me especially, it's more about, am I better than I was yesterday? So I'm competing against myself every day. I don't really feel the need to compete against somebody else necessarily. But it's a different mindset for me. I love the competitors. You know, I love to watch them. I love to see the intensity. But when the event is in my facility, I'm focused on every single detail that's not actually competing. I think I would be too distracted, to be honest with you, if I had to
And the one
compete
event
in
that
my level.
my wife and I went to at your facility, that's what that was fantastic. There's a lot of attention to detail.
Thank you.
Everything was well organized, everything was put in its proper place. I've been to a lot of events where it's just basically just a mob scene all over the place. And that's the same thing with me. I'm a Virgo, my attention to detail is insane. It's like if something is like slightly out of position, it can totally throw me off.
Yeah.
But that's what people will expect when they come into your facility, to your business. They want that attention to detail. Excellent.
Yeah, no, they make fun of me sometimes, but it pays off in the end. I mean, it does. And we've got another event coming up in March. So we host, the event that you came to, we actually hosted for Garage Games, which is a Master Divisions comp. The event that we have in March is our first official Reinvented comp. We've only been open in February, it'll be a year. So
Okay.
we're still new.
What kind of event is it in March?
So it's the Battle of the Decades. It's a competition, but the twist is that every decade is competing. So we've got 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s plus. And within your decade, you'll compete against obviously people in your same decade, but then the final WOD, the decades will compete against each other. So the best of each decade will then compete against the best of every other decade.
Is this set, like the workouts are set already?
The workouts are being set this week. Yes, we are releasing the workouts this week. We're really excited about it because it's a nice chance to be in your age group and still compete against somebody who's younger than you, but on the same level.
Will these workouts be posted?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
See, it's
Do
interesting.
you want to do it? You
So
wanna
I'm
have
not,
that?
honestly, I am not extremely a competitive person.
Yeah.
But
With
I'm
yourself you are.
With myself, I'm extremely
Yeah.
competitive. So when I go and do I ran a 5K in New Year's that it was atrocious. I had GI issues. That's besides the point. But I'm in competition with that clock.
Yeah.
That's where it's me. I want to just be better than I was. But if you decided, if you came to me and said, Dom, I want to run a 5K, and all of a sudden I saw this potential, and you start beating me, my times, I'm at the finish line high-fiving you and hugging you and congratulating you.
Right.
I'm not in competition with anyone else. Honestly, I could care less. I love when people succeed. I love
Yeah.
seeing that. But I need to have those. I don't need to, but I like having those goals.
Yeah, well, that's the atmosphere at our gym, honestly. I mean, the guys are really competitive, but they are so happy when somebody like they're not happy that they've been beaten, but they're so happy for the person. So
Right.
it's a very big difference. And you might have seen it at the games. There was one competitor who was struggling, and the coaches, the judges had all finished judging their participants, and they all came over to cheer this guy on. And he had only been doing CrossFit, I think, for 2 months, if I'm remembering correctly. And his box had said, "Come on, just do the competition," and he jumped for it. I'm like, 2 months of CrossFit, and you jumped into a competition. Like, to me, that's amazing.
Sure,
And he
that's
emailed
courage.
us later. He called us. He's like, "Thank you so much for all that support." So yes, it's a competition, but it's also a way to stimulate your community and the people around you to get better. I mean, that's what I think.
It's
That's
a
my
great
philosophy.
concept with the Battle of the Decades because being a cyclist, it's you think the younger guys are the better cyclists. Oh no, no. It's like we rode last year from Milburn to LBI. It's like 110 miles. And what was his name? Russ. Who was the guy in the front with the black hair? Mitch. Mitch does not look like a cyclist. And he was maybe 10 years older than me.
Okay.
I'm like, I could stick with Mitch. Right, so I'm on behind Mitch, and then Mitch takes off. I'm like, what the hell is Mitch doing? He's going there's no way I can keep up with him. And it's like you have experience, and that's the cool thing about watching these older athletes participate. They're basically, it's kind of like the rabbit and the tortoise in the hare.
Yeah.
So the young guys take off as hard as they can, and then the tortoise takes a nice and easy, nice pace towards it, and usually is victorious. How about with
Right.
running? Is it the same thing, Dom?
What I see with running is as people become older, they become more efficient.
Yeah.
And they just learn how to run better.
And they know their body a lot.
They know their body, their
Yeah.
form becomes better, and they've now logged so many miles in their life that they've become just better at running. Right, running a mile is not easy.
No, it's not easy.
You become better at it,
Yeah,
and it's
not
that
easy.
simple. So that's, I do see, I ran 6, I don't remember my run time, but my 5K time was 20:20, I think, and I was
That's
fourth in my
great.
age group, and I'm 40 to 44 age group. It's pretty competitive,
Yeah,
you know, to
that's
go
great.
low 20-minute mark
Yeah.
and be fourth, and I was off by 30 seconds. It's pretty competitive, and I
That's
finished
amazing.
like 27 out of almost 1,000. And to think that I was fourth in my age group, finishing 27, it's competitive.
Yeah.
So as you get older, it's not easier. It's
No, it's not easier.
but definitely in the endurance sports, I definitely see that as people get older, they get almost better.
Mhm.
You know, it's more competitive. What is the actual date of this event?
March 28th.
March 20th. It's too close.
It's too close.
So I got to race the following weekend and then marathon a month
Those
early.
excuses?
I think they are. I think they are. All right, I'll see you there. All right, I'll be there. You twisted my arm. So aside from you having an indoor track, what separates or what's different about your CrossFit boxing as
So-
opposed to other ones?
If I'm allowed to be biased.
Absolutely you are.
I think we have a beautiful facility. I think in general, we have a very large facility. I have, 7,400 square feet, which is big for a CrossFit
It's
gym.
big.
The indoor track is definitely a
The
plus.
bathrooms are fantastic.
Yes.
No, it's a very legit place. I've been into a lot of these places. This is nice. It's cool.
Yeah, we have full locker rooms, showers, sauna. I like detail. I always said when I opened it,
There's a cafe/bar area, which is quite nice too. with tables.
our members area.
Were you drinking, Doc?
I don't drink.
Oh.
Not that type of bar. We don't have that type. I just think, in my opinion, like our it's gonna sound funny, but it's a pretty CrossFit gym. I just don't think that if you're working out hard, that you have to come into a place that doesn't look good. So for me, that's really important. So the aesthetic part of it is great. We have state-of-the-art equipment. Like I've been saying, my coaches are absolutely amazing, which sets us apart from a lot of places. They really actually care about form and technique and getting you better. CrossFit has gotten a bad rap for injuries, that we don't do things properly, we move too fast, we don't care. And like any industry, there obviously are going to be some negatives, and there's going to be people that uphold those negatives. We are the opposite of that. You come in and the coach is worried about your form and is worried about getting you better, not just trying to make you lift that heavy weight. That's where you get hurt. So I think that's a really big, important thing that sets us apart. And our atmosphere, we are welcoming to everybody. It doesn't matter what level, what ability, what age. I mean, I have teenagers, I have people in their 70s, I have an adaptive athlete. Whatever your ability or form shape is, we don't care. We're all there doing the exact same thing.
Do you know Kelly Starrett?
Hmm?
You've heard of him? I feel that he changed a lot of CrossFit, and when he started to really publicize these videos and speak about the mobility part of it and
Yeah.
range of motion and when you should not be doing this and you shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
that, I think he really, as far as injuries go, because
Yeah.
once he started to surface, you kind of started to hear a lot less about
Yeah.
these ridiculous injuries. And I definitely, in my opinion, but the injuries that people were sustaining were a lot of bad form.
That's
Going
our
back in
which-
the beginning.
Which you can get doing anything.
Anything.
I said it all the time, that even in the regular gym, people get hurt.
Absolutely. We
you
see
know?
them all the time, haven't we?
Right?
I used to see,
Yeah.
7 years in this office, I used to work with CrossFit gyms and Aruba and stuff too, and I see a lot less CrossFit injuries now.
Right.
The majority of CrossFit injuries I see now are all ego-based. So basically, it's not the
That's
coach,
funny.
it's not what's set up the WOD for the day, it's all ego. It's like,
Yeah.
they're trying to compete against the person next to them, and that's not the way to succeed in
That's
anything.
true.
So it's like, know what you can do, and the other thing too is, Henry, we have a patient client in our office, and it's like, he does 100% every single workout, every single day. I explained to him, like, that's not how the body adapts. Sometimes you need to take an easier day.
Right.
So it's not all about, the brain doesn't learn when you're constantly beating it up. It wants to do things slowly sometimes. So you gotta take those active recovery days.
Right.
So that's huge. So right now, probably, yeah, significantly less CrossFit injuries
Yeah.
now than before. It was insane.
And I
Lots
think
of
people need
injuries.
to listen to their bodies.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people don't, you know, if you hear push through the pain, push through
Yeah.
the pain. There's a time to push through and there's a time to say, I can't push through or else I'm gonna injure myself more. And a lot of people won't listen to that. I think it's good to have somebody there saying, you don't have to lift that weight right now, or you don't have to do that movement. Let's scale it down. You still wanna work out? Let's scale it down.
And that's the beautiful thing about what you guys do. You guys scale it down to what people could actually do.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
I
the
think
beginning,
that-
that wasn't happening.
No,
Back
it
in
wasn't.
2009.
Yeah.
There's, there's no scale.
Right, well, yeah, there was a scale, but people weren't doing the
Right,
scale.
right, you're right,
People
you're
weren't
right.
doing the scale, so that's the difference. But I think also you can go the opposite. I mean, you guys probably see it all the time, where, you know, I hurt my back a few years ago, and the doctor immediately was like, stop CrossFit.
Yeah.
Don't work out. I said, well, if I don't work out, how am I gonna get better? Like, I understand slow down on the CrossFit, but he's like, no, just don't do it.
That's
I
horseshit.
said, well, how am I supposed to get better? And then he was like, for 6 weeks, do nothing. I'm like, I can't do nothing
Or
for
I
6
get runners
weeks.
that come in here, they go to the doctor, oh, don't run for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To a runner, that's insane, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
make any
that's
sense
one of the
to
things
me.
that we pride ourselves in. I maybe in the last 7 years, figure 4,000 or 5,000 appointments, maybe 5 patients I told her, you're gonna have to stop for a week or 2. You can always scale or change things around. It could still be active, but to tell somebody to stop doing their thing that's gonna give them pleasure, that's gonna lead to more mindset issues, depression, things of that nature. Yeah, you can't do that.
And sometimes the stopping, especially like a low back injury,
Yeah.
like not moving,
Yeah, it
it's
will hurt
worse
you.
for me.
Yeah, me too.
I need the movement, you know.
Maybe it's just wrong movement that's
Wrong
creating it. Maybe you just need to use, like in low back issues, majority of the times people aren't using their hips enough.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time to just, injuries are a gift because they're teaching you, right now what I'm doing is creating pain. There's probably a way to go and do the movement without pain, I just gotta learn that movement. So we focus a lot on hip hinging, doing things of that nature, loosening up the hips,
Yeah.
strengthening up the core.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, when I got injured, that's when I really started focusing on technique more
Right.
than anything else. I said, I don't care about the weight anymore. I need to have the technique or else I won't be able to do the movement and I'm just gonna get hurt again.
Do you follow any type of diet, paleo or anything like that?
I do not. I am the worst person to ask about diet because I do not follow a diet. I'm of the firm belief that you should be able to eat what you want as long as it's in moderation and you listen to your body. I don't think you should indulge, but I don't think you should deprive yourself either. Like I have a lot of people who come in who want the nutritional background. I of course move them to somebody else who has the expertise, but I always tell them, if you're going to start a diet of some sort, it's not going to work. You have to actually make it part of your life, and you have to, like, if you're eating healthy, you have to eat healthy. You have to eat clean, not for a couple of weeks, but really maintain everything. I think that's the hardest part of maintaining a diet. And I see a lot of people who come in and they'll do those, like a 6-week diet or 3-week diet, and then
What do you do after, what do you do with like week 7?
yeah, well, they go back. They literally go
That's
back
right.
to that's what they did. Oh, I did this for 6 weeks. Now I can go back to eating whatever I want. Like, well, that doesn't work.
And that's the thing, I was a vegetarian for like a year and a half, I was vegan for a couple weeks. I've tried every single diet just to learn to see how
Just
it
so
actually
yeah.
happens. And then I'm pretty much on the same page with you. It's like, right now I'm not doing that much cycling, but I'm gonna be doing some long rides in the summer, so basically if I eat like too much meat on Saturday and Sunday, you know, I'll probably go vegetarian for like Monday and Tuesday,
Yeah.
because I just feel better. So having that knowledge of what actually works for you by trying a whole bunch of different things fits into my lifestyle. I'm also not the guy who's gonna go to a birthday party and not have somebody's birthday cake.
Yeah.
I wanna be socially lenient to be able to do that. But at the same time, if the birthday party's at 6, then I'm gonna have the cake at 7, I'm either gonna fast the whole day, or I'm gonna eat a whole bunch of veggies and a whole bunch of good stuff to basically counteract the effects of the 2 or 3 pieces of cake that I'm gonna eat. So,
2
you know,
or 3.
yeah, I have a sweet tooth. My wife's a phenomenal baker. So what I do is I do a sort of a keto diet where basically I eat no carbs during the day. I eat a lot of food, a lot of veggies during the day, and then I come home. My wife usually bakes something every other day, She always gives it away. But I have the sample. So that's what I do at night. I basically carb load every single night, and I wake up in the morning, fast a steak, get on the bike, ride for a bit. Works for us, and works for me.
So, Christa, how can people listening find you? You have social media?
We do have social media. Reinvented CrossFit is our page.
Instagram?
Instagram, Facebook, our website. We're really accessible.
Okay.
Actually, we're very accessible. So we are out there. We're right in Rochelle Park, which is wonderful. I think the best way to reach us really is social media and to go through our website.
All right, excellent. Anything in closing that you'd like to say?
No, this is wonderful. I'm so relaxed with these.
You don't want to get out, right?
No, I'm like, wait, keep talking. No, it was great, thank you.
Doc, any last words?
No, this is fantastic.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. Thanks for coming, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
If you like, you can subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and iTunes, and please share with your friends or anyone who may be interested in our content. Until next time, train your brain, train your body.